Have you ever noticed how some people can walk into a room, say one thing, and suddenly everyone's hanging on their every word? Meanwhile, others, no matter how hard they try, just get ignored, talked over, or dismissed. Here's the kicker. It's not about being the loudest, smartest, or most experienced. It's about how you speak. In this video, I'm spilling the tea on ways to speak so people can't help but respect you. 1. Set boundaries and stick to them. If you're not setting boundaries, you're not being selfless. You're being spineless. And before you get mad at me, think about it. How many times have you said yes to something you didn't want to do just to keep the peace? How often have you let someone overstep because you didn't want to seem difficult? Let's talk about why boundaries are not just nice to have. They're a requirement for respect. Boundaries aren't about keeping people out. They're about teaching people how to engage with you respectfully. Think of them as the rules of your personal game. No boundaries, no rules, and if there are no rules, people will play however they want. Spoiler alert, that usually doesn't end well for you. Let me make it simple. When you don't set boundaries, you're basically saying, your comfort is more important than my sanity. When you start setting boundaries, people are going to get mad. Why? Because they've gotten used to you bending over backward for them. Trust me, I've been there. One time, I told a close friend I couldn't help the move because I had other plans. They hit me with the guilt trip. Wow, I thought you were someone I could count on. And for a second, I almost caved. But then I realized, this isn't about me being a bad friend. It's about them not respecting my time. So, I stuck to my boundary. Guess what? They found someone else to help, and we're still friends. People will adjust, but only if you hold the line. Boundaries aren't about being mean. They're about showing people, and yourself, that your time, energy, and well-being matter. If you don't value your limits, no one else will. But here's the other side of it. Boundaries aren't just for the people who respect you. They're for the people who don't. Setting boundaries helps you filter out those who aren't willing to treat you with dignity. And that's not selfish, that's self-preservation. Here's a tip. Don't over-explain. If you can't do something, a simple, "I'm not available for that," is enough. No excuses, no apologies. And here's the key. Stick to it. Because if you cave, you're teaching people that your boundaries are negotiable. Also, practice saying no to small things. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Start with something low stakes, like turning down an invitation you're not excited about. Once you see that the world doesn't end, saying no gets easier. Look, setting boundaries isn't easy. It's uncomfortable, and it's going to ruffle some feathers. But the alternative, living a life where everyone else's needs come before your own. And let me tell you from experience, that's a fast track to burnout and resentment. So, start small. Define what you need, communicate it clearly, and most importantly, stick to it. Because the only people who get upset about your boundaries are the ones who benefit from you having none. And honestly, good riddance. Set the boundary. Trust me, it's worth it. 2. Ditch the "I'm sorry" habit. Let's talk about the 2 words that are ruining your life. I'm sorry. Yeah, I said it. Stop apologizing for every little thing. It's not cute, it's not polite, and it's definitely not helping anyone respect you. Controversial? Sure. But let's break this down. When you apologize unnecessarily, You're not being polite. You're undermining yourself. It's like you're telling the world, hey, don't take me seriously. I'm already assuming I'm wrong. You're practically handing people permission to walk all over you. Spoiler alert, 90% of the time there was no reason to apologize. Apologizing when it's unnecessary isn't just a habit, it's a mindset. It's like you're apologizing for existing, for taking up space, for being human. And if you keep doing it, guess what? People will start to believe you. They'll see you as someone who's always in the wrong, someone who doesn't value themselves enough to stand tall. But here's the truth. You have every right to take up space, to have opinions, to make mistakes. Respect doesn't come from saying, I'm sorry. It comes from owning your presence and your imperfections. So, what do you say instead? Instead of, sorry I'm late, try, thank you for waiting. Instead of, sorry for bothering you, say, do you have a moment? The next time you're about to say, I'm sorry, pause. Ask yourself, do I actually need to apologize, or am I just trying to make myself smaller? Respect starts with how you respect yourself. Ditch the unnecessary sorries, and you'll be amazed at how people start to see and hear you differently. 3. Drop the gossip. Let's get controversial. Gossip. You know that juicy little tidbit about Karen from accounting, or that thing your friend swore you wouldn't tell anyone? We've all done it, right? But here's the brutal truth. Gossip doesn't make you look interesting. It makes you look untrustworthy. And if you're the one spilling all the tea, guess what? No one's respecting you. They're just entertained until they realize they might be next on your list. Now, don't get me wrong, I get the appeal. Gossip is like social currency. It feels good in the moment, like you're part of some exclusive club. But here's the flip side. Every time you indulge in gossip, you're telling the people around you, I can't be trusted. It's not just about the person you're talking about. It's about you. And if people can't trust you, they can't respect you. Here's the thing about gossip. It's never really about the person you're talking about. It's about you. Why are you sharing that story? Are you trying to feel superior? Trying to be interesting? Because if you're being honest with yourself, most gossip comes from a place of insecurity. It's like saying, hey, don't look at my flaws, look at theirs. But here's the harsh reality. When you gossip, people aren't thinking about the person you're trashing. They're questioning your integrity. And let's talk about the flip side. What happens when you don't gossip? When you're the person who refuses to engage in the drama, people notice. They start to see you as someone who can be trusted, someone who doesn't need to tear others down to feel good about themselves. That's the kind of person people respect. Here's the deeper lesson. Gossip doesn't just hurt other people, it hurts you. It chips away at your credibility, your relationships, and even your self-respect. When you drop the gossip, you're making a statement. I'm better than this. I don't need to build myself up by tearing someone else down. That's where true respect comes from. And let's be real for a second. When you're known as that person who always has the gossip, you're also known as the person who can't keep their mouth shut. And you know what happens to those people? They don't get promoted. They don't get trusted with secrets. And worst of all, they're usually the ones left out when the real stuff goes down. So, yeah, maybe ditch the gossip train. It's not going anywhere good. At the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be? Someone who spreads negativity and mistrust, or someone who lifts others up? Gossip feels good in the moment, sure, but respect, that's something that lasts. And respect doesn't come from spilling the tea, it comes from being the person who refuses to pour it. Besides, Karen from accounting, she's probably just living her best life. Leave her alone. 4. Master the art of pausing. That they'll do anything to fill it. They talk too much, rush their points, and end up sounding like they're trying to sell you something instead of simply speaking their truth. But here's the controversial reality. The pause isn't empty, it's where your power lives. We live in a culture where speed is everything. Fast talkers are seen as confident, quick thinkers. But here's the thing, fast doesn't always mean effective. When you speak quickly without pauses, your words can feel like background noise, something people hear but don't really listen to. But a pause, that forces people to tune in. It creates anticipation. It's like music. It's not about saying less, it's about making every word count. Pausing isn't just about speaking, it's about presence. It's about being so secure in what you're saying that you don't feel the need to fill every moment with noise. A pause says, I trust my words to speak for themselves. It's a kind of confidence that's rare, and that's exactly why it commands respect. But it's not just about confidence. Pausing teaches us patience. It forces us to slow down and let things sink in. And let's be honest, in a world that's always rushing, there's something powerful about someone who's willing to take their time. It shows they value their words and yours. So the next time you're tempted to fill the gaps with chatter, resist. Trust the pause. Lean into the discomfort. Because when you master the pause, you don't just earn respect. You own the room. And honestly, that's the kind of power you deserve. 5. Use humor without turning into a clown. Humor is like hot sauce. Used right, it elevates everything. Used wrong, it ruins the whole dish. And let me tell you, nothing makes people lose respect for you faster than when you cross the line from being funny to being a clown. How do you use humor to win respect instead of losing it? First, let's address the obvious. Humor is a fantastic tool. It breaks tension, builds connections, and can even make you look smarter. Yeah, studies back that up. But here's the controversial part. If you're not careful, humor can backfire hard. When you rely too much on jokes, especially self-deprecating ones, or if you're constantly playing the fool, people start seeing you as, well, a fool. And trust me, nobody respects a punchline that doesn't know when to quit. Humor is an incredible way to build rapport and lighten the mood. But here's the key, it has to serve a purpose. Are you using humor to connect with people, or are you using it to deflect, distract, or beg for approval? For example, self-deprecating humor can be great, in moderation. It shows humility and relatability. But if you're constantly the butt of your own jokes, people might start to believe you. There's a fine line between laughing with people and giving them permission to laugh at you. Here's the deeper message. Humor is about timing, intent, and balance. When used thoughtfully, it's a sign of intelligence and confidence. But when it becomes a crutch, it's a sign of insecurity. Humor should add to the conversation, not take away from it. It should make people feel connected, not distracted. And most importantly, it should reflect your confidence, not your insecurity. A well-timed joke can show that you're sharp and in control, but a constant barrage of jokes can make you look like you're trying too hard. And let's not forget, humor can be risky. Sarcasm, for example, can either make you look witty or make you look like a jerk. It all depends on how it lands. Dark humor, same deal. Know your audience, and for the love of all things good, read the room. There's nothing more cringeworthy than a joke that bombs because it was tone deaf. At its core, humor is a form of communication. And like any other form of communication, it's a reflection of who you are. Are you using it to build people up or tear them down? To mask your insecurities or to show your confidence? Because here's the truth. Respect isn't about how many people laugh at your jokes. It's about how your humor makes them feel. So the next time you're about to crack a joke, ask yourself, what's my intent? Am I using humor to connect, or am I hiding behind it? Because when you strike that balance, when you use humor with purpose and confidence, you're not just funny, you're unforgettable. 6. Know when to stop talking. Most people talk too much. Yeah, I said it. And you know what? It's costing you respect. The uncomfortable reality is this. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing. But, oh, the temptation to keep going, to over-explain, to fill every silence. It's real, right? Let's get into it. Why do we do this? Why do we feel the need to keep talking long after we've made our point? Let's be real. It's insecurity. We think if we stop talking, people will assume we're unsure or that we don't know enough. So we keep rambling, hoping to prove how smart, funny, or valuable we are. Over-talking does the opposite. Instead of making you look impressive, it makes you look unsure and, dare I say it, a little desperate. Sometimes, the more you talk, the less people listen. It's like pouring water into a glass that's already full. It overflows, and none of it sticks. Silence, on the other hand, silence commands attention. It gives your words weight. When you stop talking, you create space for others to think, to respond, to engage. That's where respect grows. Here's the deeper truth. Knowing when to stop talking isn't just about communication, it's about confidence. It's about trusting that your words have value without needing to back them up with endless explanations or filler. It's about being okay with the discomfort of silence, knowing that it speaks louder than noise ever could. People remember the mic drop, not the ramble. The power of knowing when to stop talking is like leaving a party at its peak. You leave people wanting more, not wishing you'd go home. When you know when to stop talking, you show people that you trust your words to stand on their own. You give them the space to actually hear you, to respect you, to engage with what you're saying. And yeah, it takes practice. It takes a little courage to let silence do its thing. But when you master it, the impact is undeniable. And if you're worried about leaving people hanging, don't be. You're not dropping the ball. You're giving them a chance to pick it up. So next time you're in a conversation, try this. Say what you mean, then stop. Sit with the silence. Trust me, it'll speak volumes. See what I did there? Let's get real for a second. Respect isn't about following a list of tricks or hacks. It's about how you show up for yourself and others every single day. It's about owning your words, your space, and your impact. Here's the thing. Words are powerful. They can build bridges or burn them. They can make people feel seen, or they can make them feel small. And the way you speak doesn't just shape how others see you, it shapes how you see yourself. So whether it's ditching the unnecessary apologies, setting those boundaries, or mastering the art of pausing, remember this: respect starts with you. And hey, if any of this hit close to home, or if you're just here for the banter, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and let me know in the comments. Which one of these points are you going to try out first? Or better yet, what's your own secret to commanding respect in conversations? Until next time, keep showing up, keep speaking your truth, and most importantly, keep being unapologetically you. Unless you're gossiping, then stop that. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.